Hello, welcome to the channel. It's Saturday, it's 9 o'clock and we're here today at Bushy Park, the home of parkrun. Being the home of parkrun, what is a better way to start this channel than doing my accessibility reviews from here? So let's go. Bushy Park is the second largest of London's 8 royal parks and is famous as the birthplace of parkrun. The first ever event took place here in 2004 with just 13 participants. Nowadays, roughly 1,500 people take part here every week. If you're driving, the closest parking for the parkrun is at the Diana Fountain car park. With the sheer number of participants, plus everyday park visitors, it does get busy super early. It's free to park here, and there are 6 blue badge spaces. However, these also get filled up quite early. On the day we came, we arrived about 8:45 and all of the spaces, including the blue badge spaces, were taken. Luckily, after dropping me off, a space did open up. However, if you are planning to drive here, I would recommend to arrive super early. Parking here, you're then around 200 metres from the start line and around 50 metres from the finish line. As you head over to the start line, there's a toilet block nearby, with both male and female toilets and an accessible one. To get into the accessible toilet, you do need a radar key, but every time I've visited, there's been someone there who opens it up for you. In the cubicle, it is quite small. I typically take my front wheel off to make it easier to manoeuvre. Although it's quite small and basic, it is always nice and clean. Now, onto the course itself. The official start for Bushy is over on the grass, which is not ideal and is very busy. However, for those with access needs, they allow you to start on the path to the side. This has been marshalled by the same person every time I've come, which is nice as you get to know them, and they're very good at making sure both other participants and spectators are not blocking the path. On this day, there was 2 other wheelchairs and a visually impaired runner with their guide starting on this path. About 5 metres in, everybody does merge together, so it gets very busy and does stay busy for the majority of the course. You start initially on tarmac before going onto a compacted gravel path. You stay on here for about 1 kilometre. The floor is mostly smooth along here, just the odd pothole to navigate. Initially, I start on the right and then I move towards the middle as I find it easiest then to navigate around the worst patches. But just stay vigilant as it is very busy all the way along. As you approach the end of this path, it will take a left where you'll then be passing a cricket pitch on your right. This part of the path has recently been relaid, so it's a little bit rough in some areas, but is slowly bedding in and becoming smoother. You'll then follow this path round to the right and then take a left to follow the park boundary. As you go along here, you'll then reach a tarmac path. This tarmac path is a bit sloped downhill, so you do pick up a fair bit of speed along here, which is nice, but it is very busy, so overtaking is difficult. You'll wiggle a little bit before you'll reach a marshal, and then you'll take a right to go down a woodland path that leads to a grassy area. This bit's quite tough and is bumpy and rough. I typically go to the left in the drier spells, and then in the wetter times I go down the middle, just take extra caution. This is only about 100 metres before you're then guided left again onto a compacted gravel path. You'll stay on here for about 600 metres, and like initially, there's a few potholes, but nothing that isn't too hard to manage. This part I find gives me the best views of the park over to the left. You'll often see deer along here. There's one point where there's a bit of a hump in the path, but it's only a minimal up and down, so it doesn't impact me too much. As you get to the end of this path, the official parkrun route takes a left to go along about 100 metres of grass. However, I take an alternative route heading straight on onto the road. This is a live road, so cars may pass you, but it's nice and smooth. I typically stay down the middle as it reduces the impact of the road camber and allows cars to pass either side. You'll then take a left and join back with the main pack. Be really careful here and make sure people know that you're joining back in. This is on tarmac and initially nice and downhill, therefore I do pick up a fair bit of speed. However, be mindful it's still very busy. I make sure I shout as I'm coming through and people typically move out the way. You will then reach another marshal, at which point you turn right onto another woodland and grassy path. This part I find the hardest. It's really bumpy and narrow in points, and through the trees you have to navigate through some of the routes. You will then pass over a small bridge over to Heron Lake. You follow the path around the lake for about 200 metres. This part is on slightly looser gravel. You will then veer off this path onto some grass for the final home straight. It's around 50 metres on this grass, which can be tough. As with the rest of the course, the finish at Bushy is very busy. They have multiple lanes in the funnel to try and reduce congestion, but it can stack up and sometimes can queue even before you reach the finish line. Once you're in the funnel, still expect to wait a fair while. It's fully on grass here, which is hard in the wetter months. On this visit, I had to wait about 20 minutes before I got through and got my finish token. So this course is not ideal if you're someone who doesn't like waiting around in crowded areas or in much of a time pressure. So today I finished Bushy Park in position number 727 out of a field of 1,596 participants in a time of 27 minutes and 24 seconds. So that's Bushy Park run done for the day. Overall, a really nice course, definitely one I would recommend you should try out. Being the home of parkrun, it is very busy, so the crowds can interrupt and make it a bit slower, and the course is real mixed terrain, so some bits quicker, some bits slower, but really good one today and really enjoyed doing it. If you've done this parkrun, let me know your thoughts below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next one.